Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Under the Radar, Over the Moon. We're going to talk to you about some new books coming out in the coming months that we're really jazzed about. So in order to get even more jazz, we're going to have some more tequila. So, here we go.
And we're done for the day.
Just toss that somewhere.
Crank it up, Mandy Lou.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mandy Lou is our professional blender girl. Smoking.
Done.
Nice.
It's for me to spill this thing again.
I'm going to talk about Dead on Arrival by Matt Richtel. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist for the New York Times. Yes, a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. Kind of a big deal. What? So he's already written some really cool kind of speculative thrillers. His last one, which was The Doomsday Equation, received rave reviews from everyone from Lee Child to James Rollins. So good company. And his latest is also very techno thriller on the cutting edge of real world news. In this case, we have this infectious disease specialist who lands in this small Colorado town. The pilots cannot get a hold of anyone. There's just no sign of life. They've tried everywhere within a 20-mile radius. And they discover everyone is in this weird, either they're dead or in this catatonic shock. And it's up to him to kind of discover what happens. The story bounces around from this kind of the hotbed of this disease to Google Labs to Washington, and you're kind of wondering as you're reading, how is Google going to play into a disease, this worldwide disease, or what's Washington have to do with this? He ties it all together in these really ingenious and unexpected ways. And again, it's pulled straight from the headlines. This is real science behind this thriller. So really fast-paced. This disease specialist is a really intriguing, very damaged, kind of drug-addled character, but one you really want to follow through this crazy adventure. So this is great for fans of James Rollins, of course, Michael Crichton. It goes on sale in August. I really hope you check it out.
I'm going to talk about The Library at the Edge of the World. This is by Felicity Hayes-McCoy. She's making her U.S. debut with this novel that's been compared to, for fans of Fannie Flagg and Jenny Colgan. This is about a woman who is a librarian. She drives the mobile library around to the towns of the West Coast Ireland. But she had been living in England with her husband and had a really great life there, beautiful home, but she found out that her husband was cheating on her. So she goes back to Ireland, her hometown, with her daughter, her teenage daughter, who's kind of grumpy. So she's a librarian in the town. She keeps people at arm's length. She doesn't really want them to know her business too much. She inherits a dilapidated cottage, and she decides that she is going to build this back up. She gets a loan, and that becomes her project. She's going to move out of the mother's house. She's going to live in this cottage. And so she starts to come back to life. But at the same time, there's this library where she's working is being threatened. There's a lot of political stuff going on, and she tries to save the library. And in doing so, and in bringing all of the townspeople into the project, she gets to learn about them, and they embrace her, and she embraces them. And the people that she's kept at arm's length for so long, suddenly they become more like friends and family to her. So it's a really wonderful book, and I encourage you to read it. And I also encourage you to go to the library's page on Edelweiss, because there's a terrific behind the book piece written by the author.
I will go next. I'm going to talk about The Halfdrowned King by Linnea Hartsuyker. This is the first book in an epic historical drama that's really grounded in real Norse history that is set in this time that saw the birth of this legendary kingdom where this warrior united the clans and became the first king of Norway. And that is a true story. So this novel follows the man who would become the king's right-hand man, and it also follows his sister, who has to choose between family and freedom. And this book really puts you right in the middle of Viking culture. You meet the main character literally as he's on his way back from pillaging Ireland. Maybe not these people that Virginia just talked about, but coming back from Ireland, this crazy battle guy, he's gonna get this massive scar, Viking culture. But that's all really balanced out by really kind of intriguing female characters who have to survive in this same world. Readers will be happy to hear that this trilogy is coming out in a book a year, so you can get the last book in the trilogy is coming out in 2019. I'm really excited about that. Paul McLean calls it nothing short of mesmerizing, and I really agree. This is going to be great for fans of Bernard Cornwell, or the show Game of Thrones, or the show Vikings, or even like Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. If you want to be in this world of, prophecies and war and political maneuverings and violence and courage, this is really for you. That is the Halfdrowned King. And that is all I have to say about that.
Glub, glub.
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 I'm going to be talking about The Blinds by Adam Sternberg. His first novel was Shovel Ready, nominated for an Edgar Award, so he's a really talented author, and he's at the forefront of this kind of genre mashup movement that, alongside writers like Colson Whitehead, Lauren Bukes, and the guys behind the Night Vale series, where his previous novels were kind of this dystopian noir mashup. This is a Western speculative thriller that takes place in this mysterious town known as the Blinds, where all the inhabitants have had their memories wiped. But they're composed mainly of really, really dangerous criminals and then high-profile witnesses who, should they step foot outside the Blinds, face a very high risk of dying. And it's been a relatively peaceful experiment thus far until a suicide and ensuing murder throw the town into disarray. So you follow this the main sheriff as he's trying to get to the bottom of what's causing all this chaos. There's outside forces at play. Of course, when everyone has had their histories kind of wiped, things start to bubble to the surface. They discover more and more about each other until everything kind of comes to a head. And it's just utter chaos. It's really fast-paced with a kind of wicked, dark sense of humor. Really loved this one. So it's great for fans of Blake Crouch's Dark Matter, as well as Smith Henderson's 4th of July Creek. Goes on sale in August. I hope you'll check it out. It's The Blinds by Adam Sternberg.
I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books. It is delicious. It is called The Last Mrs Parrish by Liv Constantine. And the person to my left, I think, might love it as much as I do. So good. Okay, some women get everything. Some women get everything they deserve. Remember that. Anyway, this is a debut psychological thriller, which is so good. It is about this very manipulative woman. She's kind of a nobody, and she's kind of tired of being a nobody. And she reads about this very affluent, beautiful couple in Connecticut who have it all. He's this real estate mogul, and she's this philanthropist. They have these 2 beautiful kids. They have it all, and she wants what they have. And more pointedly, she wants that husband. This is Mr. and Mrs. Parrish, and she wants to be the last Mrs. Parrish, the next Mrs. Parrish, and the last Mrs. Parrish. And it is amazing how she insinuates herself into their lives. It's so good, and it works. She's so bad. You're reading this, and she's preying on the wife's kindness, and her open-heartedness, and she becomes her friend first and then gets to the husband. And the book is funny, too, because when you're reading it, you're actually reading this protagonist's inner thoughts, what she really thinks, And so she pretends like, oh, your kids are so sweet, and oh my God, and she's like, oh, those brats. It's great. That's all I have to say about it. It's like eating a box of Wheat Thins. Once you start, you can't stop. I would find myself at work or anywhere going, I wonder what's happening next. I have to get back to it. I have to finish it right now. I have to know what happens. That good. I loved it. I don't know what else to tell you except to read The Last Mrs. Parrish. La!
Another book that Virginia and I both love is The Child Finder by Rene Denfeld. We, the 2 of us, and HarperCollins as a whole are hugely excited about this book. This was recently chosen as the lead read for our fall season, and we've talked about this before, but as a reminder, the lead read is the book that the sales force for HarperCollins has chosen as the book of the season. This is the one that we really believe in and we really want everybody to get behind, and you can easily do that because it's awesome. This it follows a woman with a very kind of hidden past, and she roams the country taking on these missing child cases. And in this particular case, she's searching for a young girl who had gone missing 3 years before in very wild forests of Oregon. She and her parents had gone out looking for a Christmas tree, and the parents turned around and, then she was gone. So they bring her in to try and find the child. And so throughout this book, you've got the dual narrative between the child finder and the missing child. And really, it was just beautifully written, very, very lyrical, where it's almost mystical as you're walking through this snow-covered land. And it was a bit dark without being gratuitous, just incredibly gripping. This will be perfect for readers of literary suspense, like Everything I Never Told You, in that vein. And I really just want everyone to read it. So check that out. What do you want to say?
I agree with everything you just said. It was so good. I feel like the Pacific Northwest was a character in this book. I just saw the jacket and I went, oh, that's the perfect jacket for this book, because have you seen it? It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
And yes, I thought what was really key about this thing was that the writing was great, and yes, a kid goes missing and you start to see what's happening, and this could have gone in a different direction. She could have handled this a different way. She didn't. She wasn't gratuitous about that. That is not a book I would want to read. That's not in this. It's things are implied, but it's smarter than that, and it's really, really good. I loved it. I loved it.
And that's what we've got for May.
Join us next month. Fresh titles, fresh booze,
Yay.
fresh laughs. See you then.
Fresh faces. Bye.